Hey, and thanks for clicking on Hey, Melissa Crochets. I appreciate you wanting to spend a little bit of your day with me. I wanted to do a mid-year check-in through all of my goals that I set for myself earlier in this year. I had a video, and I'll put the thumbnail up here, and I'll try to put a little card thingy in one of these corners, I never know which one, of my initial video about my goals. I called it my crochet desires. I don't like the word goals because it feels like it's something I have to do. When I say desires, it's something that I desire to do, and if I get to it, I get to it. If I don't, I don't. That's how my brain thinks those words. Something important to note, and of course I didn't know this was going to happen when I filmed this video. I believe I had filmed that initial video on January 10th or 12th-ish, and then I lost my job on January 21st. So the year has really changed for me. I didn't see it coming, obviously. If you've never watched my channel, the company I used to work for is Spin Right Yarns in Listowel, Ontario. The retail website is Yarnspirations. So I was working for a yarn manufacturer, and it was my favorite job of all time. I was the corporate receptionist, answering the phone lines for all the phone lines coming into the company, and just general admin stuff throughout the company and everything. I miss it a lot. It was my favorite job. One, because, I was versed in the world of yarn already, and, that really furthered me into it. And I had tried to move throughout the company, product development I couldn't get because I am partially colorblind and I couldn't pass that test. Company cuts came, and yeah, so unfortunately the manufacturing plant is going to be closed this month, July 2025. There are still some corporate staff there, so finance, sales, HR, planning, etc., stuff like that. I still have a lot of friends that are with the company, so that's helpful if I need any information or clarification about things. So that being said, let's get into my 2025 goals. Of course, everything has really changed when it came to goals and desires, and how I had projected my year to look like, what I want to do after work and, between work and stuff like that. Something that has really changed is what I had originally planned to do was an amigurumi challenge in April 2025, but when I lost my job, I really needed something to focus on. So I started that right away, basically. I would say I did it in February-ish, and then I got addicted to amigurumi. So I have been making quite a few things. You see my possums right here, my bestseller. So I have 23 of them right now, just for the farmer's market and stuff. So I have been taking them to the farmer's market, I would say a few times a month. And that's just how I've been filling my time. And I did recently donated 25 plushies to charity that I made specifically for charity. If you haven't watched that video, go back and watch it. I'll try to put the card in the thumbnail right here so you can find it easily. And you'll hear about some other goals, desires that I have completed, and some things that I'm not that excited about anymore, or things that have changed because of my life situation. I am looking for a new career, job, whatever. I do like reception. I like admin work. I like being the person at the front desk and, meeting new people and stuff like that. So I'm still looking. I've had quite a few interviews, and I've had a few offers that I've declined, but I want to be picky about what I do next. And my husband's encouraging me to take the year off so I can enjoy my hot girl summer. That's funny to me because my husband Steve doesn't really use social media, and when he blurted out that common saying, hot girl summer, I laugh so hard. So it's pretty funny because every once in a while he'll ask, how's your hot girl summer going? Enjoy this video. It's a bunch of random clips, but I want to cover everything that I wanted to cover. So I will see you in the outro, probably in the same shirt. I want to film this portion as point of view style. So this is going to be the Yarn Stash tour. Earlier in the year I did two separate videos. I did the Yarn Stash tour, which was like 33 minutes long. And then the next video, I think I talked about my 2025 crochet desires. But I figured we'll just run through this pretty quickly. So here's the yarn wall. It's basically all my yarn. I really don't have it anywhere else besides in the closet. Okay, so moving forward, everything in these cubes here, almost everything anyway, is Bernat blanket. There are a few that don't have, so along the bottom there, that first one there is specialty yarn. That one there is specialty yarn. That one there as well. Up here is Forever Fleece, but it still counts. And we'll talk about that during the Canva slideshow portion about all my yarn. And then of course you can see lots of possums there. Those are granny squares, so they're not blanket yarn, but I use somewhere to put them. So here we are. You can see most of these are partial skeins. In the slideshow portion, you will see the percentage that are full skeins. I don't know it off the top of my head, but we'll get there. And then up top there, I do have more blanket skeins. Of course, those are counted as well. I have one Karen anniversary cake. I hate working with that stuff, so I'm gonna give it to my friend. And that one right there is like a specialty yarn. It's not released, can't talk about it. Up there is those Karen layer cakes, and then of course some fidget worms. The layer cakes I'm saving for myself because I really like the way that yarn like drapes. So I wanna make myself a summer top. It's already July, I really need to get on that. So that's the blanket yarn. And then moving over here to my bookshelf, this is all my chunky acrylic yarn. So like Bernat Softy Chunky, Loops and Threads Impeccable, Loops and Threads, whatever that stuff is, rainbow stuff. Also Loops and Threads Charisma. So basically that's anything that's like a 5 or a 6 weight acrylic yarn. And I really do like the way that I've organized things this year. So like this bookshelf is strictly that yarn. The cubes are basically all Bernat blanket. And then turning a little bit here, this is my worsted weight yarn. I don't like having this much because I really don't use it as much as I used to. We've talked about it before on my channel, but a lot of the sweaters, cardigans, whatever that I made with this yarn didn't sell at my holiday markets last year, like my winter markets. People really like the cardigans made out of Bernat blanket. So I use a lot of this for charity work. I do sell some hexagon cardigan sweaters with the worsted weight, but it's not very often. I'm not obviously gonna like toss it or anything. I will use it, especially the full skeins here. I do want to do some hexagon cardigans with because I love those bitty stripes. They're just so beautiful. So zooming back out, here is how everything looks on my yarn wall. It's hard to believe that all those skeins that we just counted like are in this wall. That's just crazy to me. Kind of hard to film this. This is up in my closet. I have a nice curtain over it now just because I hate looking in here. So up there is the blanket for my husband's man cave. I'm not gonna work on it right now because it's really hot, made with Bernat blanket. And up in that pink bag is the skeins I want to put onto it yet. So there's not really a whole lot in this closet. Scanning down here, this is where I keep all of my forever fleece. And then in here is like my old sewing supplies that I still use sometimes. And you know, shipping supplies, business cards, etc. I hope the audio on this is okay. I got a new webcam that's much nicer than the old one. The old one I bought for $5 off Facebook Marketplace, and this is a brand new one. So hopefully it's a little bit better. The picture, the audio, or the picture and the visual is much better. Not sure about the audio, but hopefully it's good. Okay, so let's go over my yarn stash inventory. I wanted to review it mid-year. So you already seen the video, the tour. So we're just gonna go over the quantities and some math just because I find this part fun. So let's do it. Cotton yarn, I have 3 skeins. I have 1 vintage, 1 hand dyed, and 1 handicrafter. So Bernat handicrafter, that is my favorite yarn or cotton yarn to work with. Random yarns that I have that were either gifted to me through my old workplace or just have been hanging out in my stash for a while that are not in any other category. I have 20 of those, and only 10 of them are full skeins. Forever fleece yarn. I've only used, I think, 4 from the beginning of what we started with and earlier in this year. I am saving it for a special project, which I have started, but it's not taking as much yarn as I thought it would. So eventually I'll probably end up selling those or donating them. Not sure. It is a nice yarn to work with. I think it'll make a nice corner-to-corner blanket. So maybe at some point I'll make one of those with that. Chunky acrylic yarn. So that's the stuff in the bookshelves. So mainly Softy Chunky, Loops and Threads Charisma, Loops and Threads Impeccable. So there's 90 in total, and 77 of them are full skeins. I thought it would be a lot less full skeins, but it makes sense because most of them are 100 grams. So only 13 of them are partial skeins. At the bottom there, I put 0 homespun because at the beginning of the year I had 3.5 skeins of homespun, but I actually just donated them last week. I'd been hoarding them for a while thinking, oh, I'm going to find more and I'm going to eventually love it. But no, I don't love it, so it was time for it to go. Worsted weight yarn. I have a lot more than I want to have. I have 76 of them, including scraps, and 45 of them are full skeins, which I thought would be a lot less, and Bernat blanket yarn. So I also wanted this to be a lot less than it is, but here we are. So in the cube shelves, there's 213 in total, and keep in mind only 80 of these are full skeins, and those are in the cube shelves. Tucked up in the closet is 12 of them for the blanket. I have 0 incoming. Again, keep in mind, only 80 of them are full. So final yarn count compared to January. So January's in that color you can barely see purposely.
So Bernat Blanket, I have 50.5% of my stash. Forever Fleece is 7.2%. Chunky Weight Acrylic is 20.2%. Worsted Weight is 17%, which I thought would be a lot less, but I didn't realize how much I had. Random Yarn, 4.5%. And Cotton Yarn I didn't include last time. I included it in the random yarn, but I thought this time I'm going to include it separately. So that's 0.7%, which I'm not really surprised about because there's only 3 little skeins. Pie chart was an idea by ChatGPT. So I was like, okay, let's do a pie chart. And he calls my stash Yarn Jungle, which made me laugh. So I kept it in there. So it's pretty cool to see. I'm not surprised that Bernat Blanket was half. I figured it would be more than half. I thought around 60 or 70%, but you know, the chunky acrylic and the worsted weight kind of messed with that. So how many skeins in total do I have right now? Drum roll, please. I have 446 skeins of yarn right now. In January, I had 566.5, and now that's 120 difference, equaling 21.3% difference. So that was very exciting to see. Of course, I wanted that number to be less and then more of a difference. So here are my thoughts. 1 bucket of scrap yarn is not included into this count, and in all honesty, there's only like 3 or 4 small pieces in there. So I do need to remember that a lot of yarn was given to me, and I do donate what I don't use. I had recently donated probably like just last week, I want to say close to 25 skeins of yarn, and then I do have more in the donation bin already. 40 to 50% of my skeins are partially used, but they still count here. I don't think I updated that number, but we'll get to that. The first 6 months of 2025, I used 517 pieces / skeins up. So I am on track, and I am making things, obviously, but you know, the yarn continues to grow. Oh, here, this is the one that I was talking about. So full versus partial. I only have 257 skeins that are full out of 466, which equals 57.61%. And then my partial skeins are 189 out of 446, and that's 42.4%. So not a huge difference there. I was shocked to see how many full there are. Okay, my stash desires. So this was basically set in the beginning of the year. Use 10 skeins per month. Obviously, we're doing that, so check mark. Keep track of how many skeins I'm using, check mark. Photo of the yarn wall each Saturday. I'm now doing that on Sundays. It just seems to work out better. And I want to finish up 130 charity pieces in 2025, which we will talk about next.
I'm not going to hold these up one by one and tell you about each of them. I'm going to save that for the end of the year like I did last year. Also a disclaimer. Last year when I showed off my 124 pieces in 2024, I received a lot of rude comments on that video of, you know, oh, they're so incomplete. Why didn't you weave in the ends? There's holes on the top. How dare you? Be proud of yourself. And I'm like, whoa, back your boobs up, because 1, this is charity work. 2, if you actually would have watched the video, you would have seen that I said the lady I send them to can't crochet anymore, and she has arthritic hands, so she likes to weave in the ends. It makes her feel included. That lady has since retired, so of course this year everything's gonna be woven in and everything's gonna be finished. I do that at the end of the year, basically, though. I just make an afternoon out of it, so there might be some strands hanging off of here, so calm down. If you say anything rude, I'm just gonna block you from my channel. I don't think I will get hate comments on this video because I'm not titling it like, this is my crocheting charity work for the year. This is just gonna be mid-year recap type thing. So I'm just gonna count how many I have, and I'll show you like 10 by 10. Here are the first 10. You can see there's a bunch of different yarn types in there, but you know, that's the joy of making charity pieces. Here's the next 10, so this is 10 through 20. And again, lots of different yarns in there. When I do use worsted weight, which is the, what do you call it? The cubes you can see right over here. I have 10 cubes. I double strand worsted weight when I have to use it. But if I use like a bulkier yarn, like that purple one there, I don't double strand. Here is 20 through 30. There are some child sizes in here. And I love the variety of colors in this stack. These are numbers 30 through 40. 40 through 50 also has a really good variety of colors. 50 through 60. 60 through 70. 70 through 80. 80 through 90. And then I have 8 more. So that's 98 toques, hats, beanies, whatever you want to call them in total. This is a yarn that I really loved working with. This was Bernat Zap, I believe. And the pom-poms are in the yarn, and it was so fun. So I have 2 child size and one adult size. I got this through a Facebook Marketplace haul, and it was just so much fun to work up. I wish I had more of it because they're pretty cool. So within my stack is a bunch of cowls, so like scarves that are like loops, basically. So let's count those. There's not as many, of course. 1, 2, 3. This one's not attached, but that's okay. 4 and 5. So in total, it looks like I have 103 pieces done so far for the first, however many months of the year. So 6 months, yeah, is our mid-year check-in. So 103, that's pretty good. My goal for this year was 130 because the first year I started with 100, I moved to 110, and last year I was supposed to do 120, but I ended up being 124 in 2024, so that worked out. And my goal for this year is 130. I'm gonna need a bigger boat. Seeing how many I do have done makes me feel pretty confident that I will get them done in a decent time this year. I do want to have everything finished up by probably around September, because then I can focus on, making my sweaters for market season and stuff, so for the Christmas markets. So hoping to have a lot more cowls finished by then. So 130 minus 3 is 27. So I need to get 27 more cowls finished by September, maybe October. We'll see. I figured I would just type up my crochet desires from 2025. I went back and watched that old video, and I just wanted to type it out. It's just gonna be easier for me this way. So let's look at the year round up top there. So 130 beanies and cowls, close to that number. I have been maintaining my YouTube. I've had a new video every Sunday, except for the one Sunday where my computer died, my old computer. So yay, good for me. Obviously, I've done more than 10 skeins per month. That was my original goal, but please remember that when I filmed these crochet desires, I still had my full-time job. I filmed it, I think, on the 10th-ish of January, and I lost my job on the 21st. You can see I put the word blech next to maintaining Etsy, only because they recently raised their fees yet again, and it's close to 25% for fees. So if I sell a $100 sweater, I still have to, pay for shipping and stuff, and, barely get any money back. So honestly, I'm not maintaining my Etsy at all. I'm probably just going to cancel it, to be honest with you. It's just I get no views, and then at the end of the month, they're like, oh, because, you set your listings to automatic renewal, which I did purposely, you still owe $10. So I'm losing out $10 every month, and it's just not worth it. Yes, I could do my own website, but I really hate anything admin work online. I like doing it as a full-time job, as a receptionist. I loved it, but for this kind of stuff, I'd rather be creating. I'm sure you can relate. So I'd much rather do it at markets. Speaking of which, larger markets, I did apply for a few. I got into the Stratford one again. It is now 3 days this year instead of 2 days, so that kind of counts. And of course, I have been doing the farmers market a lot more frequently now that I started with amigurumi. When I filmed the Crochet Desires, I had no desire to do amigurumi, so my year has really changed. And I know we talked about that, but just mentioning that again. I do want to do more crochet and chat videos. I really haven't done any this year, just because I've had so much luck with the amigurumi. And, it's been a lot of market recaps and a lot of inventory, and that's kind of taken over things. So there you have it. I do want to do a few day in my life videos. Of course, my routine's a lot different now that I don't have my job. Basically, I'm doing editing and computer work in the morning. Larry likes to sleep until noon right now. It's just a habit he's in. If I wake him up any earlier, he acts like a turd all day because he likes to sleep. But, if he's wrestling around in his bed a bit before that, obviously I'll get him up. But it's been nice because I can do my, my errands and my routine and, all this kind of stuff in my office here in the mornings. And then the whole afternoon is free for us to play and, do everything. I have been maintaining my charity work. Of course, I'm working on the beanies and the cowls and the hats and whatever you want to call them. And then, of course, I recently donated those 25 plushies to the police precinct. So go ahead and watch that video if you want to. Yeah, that was a really good thing to do, and I loved it. I really want to do some more monthly challenges, including Larry. I don't know why I named them monthly challenges. Maybe because I meant that, we'd do something over the month again for content purposes. This was before I lost my job. So if you remember, in December, we did 31 skeins in 31 days. So that was a whole month. But I think
I would rather change this now to be, you know, just more videos featuring Larry. So we did the dinosaur drop. He included, or he's the one who picked all the patterns and stuff. If you watch that video, if you want to see more of him, go watch that video. And then, of course, if you scroll through my channel, you'll see thumbnails with Larry in it, and that usually means that he's in the video as well. Photo of my yarn wall weekly. I have been keeping up with that. If you're curious, we're now in week 28 because I uploaded that video earlier, or that photo earlier today. And then at the end of the year, I'm going to do a big slideshow to see just how much my yarn wall has changed throughout the year. And honestly, it's been really fun. So this morning I compared week 28 today to week 7 when I, you know, kind of rearranged my yarn wall. And the difference is so crazy to see. And I'm so proud of myself for that. And it's awesome. I'm so excited for that project still. So yay. Okay, moving on to projects at the bottom of the page there. I do want to make my mood blanket, of course, for Larry. We've already talked about that in previous videos. I do have January, February, and March done. Because of the pattern that I chose, and each day gets a bauble, and I have to change the baubles pretty frequently, like the color, because his moods are not the same, you know, day after day after day after day. That each month takes me about 4 hours of work just to, you know, get done. So I do try to set time aside to do them, but clearly it doesn't work that well. My scrappy corner to corner blanket. I honestly probably only need about 20 more rows, if that, maybe like 12 rows. I don't have any. I mean, yes, I have acrylic yarn right now, like worsted weight, but I'm focusing that yarn onto other things, and then whatever's left over from that, like scraps, I will be putting into that scrappy corner to corner blanket. I had recently bought a big marketplace haul. It had a whole bunch of like acrylic scraps, but the point of my scrappy corner to corner blanket is to use scraps that I've used for other projects. So I can look at it and say, oh, I remember what I did with that. You know, I don't want to just use random scraps I bought from somebody else. So I want to be meaningful to me. And it's king size. It's almost finished, but if I have it on the bed, basically the only thing that's missing is like one of the bottom corners. So yay. 2 sweaters for me. I do have one started. I'm going to do a video about that coming up soon. So that should be done at some point. It's just really hard to work on right now because of like how hot it is. So that should be more of like a fall project when I need a break from other things. So we'll get there, but I might just only get one sweater done for me this year. We'll see. It's only halfway through the year, so I shouldn't say that, but we'll see. You seen that I designed a sweater for my sister's boyfriend, Kyle. I think that video was titled Sweater for a Friend. I'll put the thumbnail in here. Designing summer clothes. In the goal video, I had said I wanted to design some more cotton tops or summer tops and stuff, but with the amigurumi and everything, having success with that, I really don't feel like I need to at this point or want to. And of course, as you all know, I did my Whispers of Summer collection for the market in Niagara, so I feel like that counts towards that goal. That was a whole summer collection, and yeah, so I feel like that one is done. I just didn't mark it on the page apparently. Corner to corner graph can. You know, I've seen other things online where I'm like, okay, that looks like something I want to do, but I just haven't done it yet. And do I want it to be for me? No, not really, because I'll need more blankets. Do I want it to be a present? Yes. A turtle blanket. I don't know if I still have the photo of it, but I'll find it on the internet. I think it's on Ravelry, so I'll post a photo of it here. I really want to make this blanket. I love turtles. Turtles are just one of my favorite things, and they're adorable, and I really want to make this blanket. That blanket will be for me. I'm not gifting that one. And then the last project is a carry saddle for Larry. If you watched that goals video, you would have heard me talk about him really wanting to be helpful. And he likes to have different jobs around the house. So if I tell him to go get something, like I've trained him to, you know certain words and stuff, and then he'll go and grab it for me, and he's so proud of himself. And I figured if I make a little carry saddle for him to carry the mail back from the post office or something like that, then that would be really satisfying for him. So that's something I do want to do. I want to make it out of cotton. I guess I was wrong. I'm not going to wear the same shirt for the outro. I thought that video was just going to take one day to film, but with all the moving pieces and deciding what I want to film, what I don't want to film, what pieces I want to put into this, it takes time to plan that all out. Sorry if you can hear Larry sighing in the background. He's trying to snooze while I'm talking, but he chose to come in here, so that's his decision. It's so interesting and crazy to me that I filmed that video probably like 10 days before I lost my corporate job.
at Spin Right. Of course, I miss it a lot. I still do. Unfortunately, this is the last week for their Canadian manufacturing site to even be open, so everybody else in our small town is losing their job there as well, and it's just so sad. So 140 of them this week are going to be out of work by Friday. So devastating, sad. It's been in Listowel, Ontario, since 1910-ish. Spin Right took it over in the 1950s, but it's just so sad to see it gone. And I believe they're selling the buildings and stuff, so we'll see what happens at that site. I don't know. Maybe that new building, or if a business takes it over, maybe they'll need a new receptionist and I can go back to my job or back to my desk anyway. So what I plan on doing, I guess, for the rest of the year is I gotta start focusing on my big blanket cardigans for my holiday and Christmas markets. I'm gonna continue with amigurumi for a bit. I really don't know what my plan is there. I don't think I'll be able to do it once I get a full-time job. I just, I'm not gonna have the concentration time in the evenings and stuff. Maybe on the weekends I would make 1 or 2 things to sell to like family and friends, but once I do get a corporate job, I won't be going back to the farmer's market. It's a lot. It's a whole day. It's 7 to 3:30 basically, and it's a whole day. But of course I'll keep going until all my stock is sold. Hopefully by the end of this year. That would be great. We'll see. But in the meantime, I am still enjoying it. Something I would really love to do is to crochet for a different business. I hate like the online process of selling things, and I don't mind the market because it is like my social time, but once I get a new job, then no. So it'd be nice to crochet for another business who makes amigurumi or sweaters or whatever, and then just crochet their supplies, or have them reimburse me for my yarn and then sell it wholesale type thing. That's my dream. So we'll see what this year brings. I want to finish, of course, the rest of those cowls that I talked about. I'd like to get them done by the end of August, end of September. We'll see if that happens. I don't know if it will, because I have to start cardigans soon. And yeah, so things have really changed. Of course, you've seen some projects I still want to do, like the carry saddle thing for Larry, the turtle blanket I want to do at some point, a graphican I want to do at some point. So we'll see. If I don't get these things done, they're still desires, they're not total goals. So that's how my brain thinks of things. So this is it. That's all. I thought this video would be longer because most of my videos are. Sorry. But some people love long form content. I find it's a good mix. So short form, long form, and everybody prefers different things. So until next Sunday, please remember that you are strong, you are beautiful, you are loved, and the world appreciates having you here.